Okay, so in this video, I wanted to address a common question I get for new corporate formations, which is, do I need a board of directors? So this often comes up when I have a client that just forms a corporate entity and they're the only shareholder. And they're asking, well, do I need this board of directors? And does it have to be multiple people? I'm the only person in this business, so what are my options? Now, the short answer is yes, every corporate entity needs to have a board of directors, but every state has different rules on who can serve and how many you need. Okay, so because each state has their own rules, you really need to look closely at the state statutes and regulations where you decide to form the entity, because that's going to drive what kind of corporate formalities you need to follow. In this slide here, I've got just two examples, and the reason I picked these two is it's going to highlight this variation in how many directors you need given the circumstances. So if we start with Delaware, under Delaware corporate law, every corporation must have at least one director and has to be a natural person. So you can't assign a board seat to an entity, right? That's not permissible. So this rule is found in Title 8 to Delaware Code, Section 141B. Now, if the corporation has multiple shareholders, it can still have just one director, right? So in this example, John and Mary form a corporation in Delaware. Under the charter, the articles stipulate that the corporation may have one or more directors. The corporation is owned 50-50 by each person, but John is going to be the only person that's a board member, right? Under corporate law in Delaware, this is okay, right? That's fine. John can be the only corporate board member, even if you have multiple shareholders in the company. Now, the reason I highlight this example is because when we look at California, the same isn't true. Under California law, a corporation can have just one director, but only in cases where there's only one shareholder. As soon as a corporate entity adds another shareholder, so two or more, now you need to have more than one director. So in this example here at the bottom, we have Henry forms a California consulting company, and he's the only shareholder at the time of formation, so he's permitted to be the only board member, okay? But let's look at what happens in the future. So Henry decides to hire Amy to work for his company, and as part of her compensation package, he's going to give her 1% of the stock in the company, right? So he's going to give her some equity here. If Henry gives Amy stock, it now creates a two-shareholder corp, which means it must now have a board with at least two persons. So Henry's going to have to add Amy as a board member, right? Or or he could hire a third party as well if he wants to do that. But under this fact pattern, really what's going to happen is Henry and Amy are both going to be board members in order to comply with California's corporate law. Okay, so yeah, the short answer is yes. Every corporation needs a board of directors, but depending on where you go, you might only need one, or you could need more depending on the shareholder group. So very important to look at this closely before you form an entity, because again, that's going to really drive how you structure your company and who sits on the board and what the conditions are going to be in the bylaws. So I hope that was helpful answering that question. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.